Right, ma'am. Can we start?
Yeah, sure. Is the voice sound okay?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Okay,
perfectly fine.
all right.
I may start. It is with great pleasure that we invite Ms. Sumita Ghose, the founder director of Rangsutra Crafts India. She was born in Kolkata and pursued a master's degree in economics from Mumbai University. Ms. Ghosh has spent so many years in the rural areas of India working towards the betterment of the society and economy. She was chosen to receive the Nari Shakti Puraskar on the International Women's Day in 2016. She was awarded by President Pranab Mukherjee at Presidential Palace in New Delhi. On behalf of everyone present here, I extend a warm welcome to you, ma'am. We are honored to have such an inspiring person with us today. I would now like to invite a co-convener, Dr. Ruchi Sharma. So, ma'am, can we please start with the questions? Would you like to say something? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Thank
Right,
you.
ma'am. Ruchi, ma'am, is actually in another meeting. So, can we
Okay.
start with the questions? Ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm
Yes.
waiting for the
Yeah,
questions.
all right, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, yes, ma'am. So, my first question to you is what was the mission with which you started your entrepreneurial journey?
Um, well, the primary purpose of starting Rangsutra was basically to ensure sustainable livelihoods. I think you need to mute yourself, otherwise there's an echo.
All right, ma'am. One second.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so as I was saying, the primary reason for starting Rangsutra was to ensure that rural artisans, especially women artisans, who do not have access to a lot of things that we in the cities take for granted, like education, especially higher education or education of any kind, access to resources to start enterprises, or even access to work, because most of the organized sector is in the cities of our country, the towns and cities. But in the villages, you don't have many industries, so the scope for getting work, paid work in rural villages is very little. I mean, maximum you have, for example, you can do farm labor, or you can be working as an Anganwadi worker in the government, or you can be working as a health worker. But there are very few industries in villages. So our primary reason was to ensure that rural women, rural artisans get access to regular work and employment through the craft skills that they have, or which we have trained them in.
That is very encouraging, ma'am. My next question to you is how are the artisans who are working for a company selected, and can you please explain the process briefly?
Okay, so as you know, when we started Rangsutra, prior to that, I had worked for many years in rural India on community development, integrated community development. So it was with these people, that with the rural communities that I had worked with in Rajasthan, that I started Rangsutra. And it was not a selection so much as they wanted to become part of Rangsutra. They wanted to be part of a company that would ensure them regular work, and the ones who came forward, then there were 1,000 of them who put in 1,000 rupees each. That's where we got our first share capital, our first equity, and that's how we started Rangsutra. Later on, whenever people show an interest, We see what their capabilities are, if they need any training. And then the first thing is to ensure that they have work. And then once they have work, we have given provided work for a couple of years. Then we ask them if they're interested in becoming shareholders, and many of them agree. And that's how now we have 2,000 plus artisan shareholders. Most of them are women.
That's amazing, ma'am. Thank you for great insights. My next question is, how does your company, the Rangsutra Collective, act as a bridge between the rural artisans and the global consumers?
Okay, so rural artisans, have the skills, and sometimes we feel that they require more skills and they require input in product development, because their customers are, not in villages but in cities and towns all across the world. So what we do is we have a several step process. First of all, we invest a lot in product development, in which we co-create along with the artisans, new products, keeping in mind the market we are going to be pitching them for. So with the artisans, we our designers go and sit in the village and work there with the artisans. They develop new samples. These samples are then showed to buyers like big retailers like Fab India and IKEA, which are our two of our main large buyers. And once these samples are passed and orders are placed, then we help to source the right raw material. It could be yarn from the right sources from factories, which are then sent to the artisan, to the weavers to be woven. From there, they are sent to the stitching units to be stitched, and then finally hand embroidered to other villages. So artisans take part in all the processes, right from product development to production to quality control, because we cannot, do quality control of all the work done across so many villages spread across the country. So we equip artisans who show leadership to become craft managers, production managers, to become quality checkers, and finally to dispatch the product to the buyer.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. And my next question is, how was the experience being a part of the Fulbright program?
Oh, it was a great experience. I was going back to college, postgraduate studies after more than 15 or 16 years after I did my master's. And it provided a chance for me to step back from active work, to understand more of what's going around in the theory and practice of community development. And very specifically, it was conflict resolution that I was studying. And it was in this time that the idea of Rangsutra came to me, because I felt that I had been working, we had been working in a certain way, which was more like the traditional social work, social development, social work, focus, which was needed at that time. But to ensure that it is sustainable and to cater to the need of every rural family, which is to get more work, because it's because they don't get work they have to migrate to the cities and live in the slums. They're not really happy doing it. If they could get work sitting in their village, they'd rather do that. Most of them would. So that was really, the space that one gets in the university, set up to take time to read, to reflect, to discuss with your peers, to discuss with your professors and mentors. It was really a great, what shall I say, it was such a good break for me. I think I need one more now.
That is very inspiring, ma'am. My next question is, what does your idea of fair trade mean to you?
Well, basically, fair trade means that, to me, it means that everyone gets their due. And by due, I mean that, okay, there is a market price, but there is also a sort of a minimum wage, a humane wage, a living wage, which should be given to people so that they can, make a better life for themselves. So what we do in practice in Rangsutra is we try that whenever there is a new product being made, we do the costing, we do a cost time, time sort of cost analysis, and then we factor in the price, the cost, wage to be paid, the rate to be paid to the artisan in collaboration with the artisan, that okay, we are spending so much time doing it, doing this piece of embroidery or stitching, and then this, in the sense, this is what's, how intricate it is, how difficult it is, or how simple it is, and based on that we fix a price. And this cost, this wage has to be more than the minimum wage, at least the minimum wage for that particular state of the country, and we aim for a higher wage than that, especially for our skilled artisans.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was the last question for the day. And thank you so much for sparing time from a busy schedule to chat with us today and making this session so inspiring and enriching. We are truly grateful to have the opportunity to hear your story, and I'm positive that all of us will benefit from your valuable insights. Once again, thank you so much for gracing this event. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, and all the best, and setting up your own
Thank you so much,
enterprises.
ma'am.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.